Psyche was an exceptionally beautiful young woman. Some said she was as beautiful as a goddess. This was not a wise thing to say. Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, heard this talk. She would brook no rivals. She was infuriated. She went to her son, Eros, who is better known by his Roman name, Cupid. His arrows made whoever they touched fall in love instantly with whatever they saw next. She ordered him not only to shoot Psyche, but to do it in such a time and a place that she would fall in love with a hideous monster. Being an obedient son, Eros set out to find Psyche. However, when he saw her, he was so struck by her beauty that he clumsily dropped his bow and arrows. Even more clumsily, as he bent to pick them up, he cut his own hand with the sharp-tipped arrows that had caused so much trouble for so many people. He fell instantly in love with Psyche. Resourceful as only a god can be, he had the wind carry Psyche away to a beautiful meadow where the fragrance of the flowers put her to sleep. Psyche was awakened during the night by a man's voice. "Hello, I am your new husband." It was Eros, of course. Psyche was frightened, but he was very kind to her, and a prophetess had foretold that she would be carried away by a wind to her husband. So she gracefully accepted the situation, even though it was so dark she couldn't see him. Night after night he came to her, and he was always gone by dawn. She soon became pregnant, and she begged her husband to let her see him. He warned her that if she saw him, their baby would be mortal. But if she left things alone, the child would be immortal. Psyche was content for a while, but she grew lonely for company. She longed to see her sisters. She begged and she pleaded until he finally allowed visits, but she was forbidden to tell them anything about him. "Keep our secret, and our child will be immortal," he warned her again. On her third visit with her sisters, out of envy, they made up a lie that a huge serpent had been seen, one which could transform itself into a man, and this must be her husband. They told her to hide a knife in a lamp by her bedside, that she might look upon him with the lamp while he slept, and kill him if he was truly a monster. Foolish and gullible, Psyche listened to her sister's jealous words. She forgot all that she knew about her husband. One night, as he lay sleeping, she took a lamp and she leaned over him to take a closer look. She was struck with amazement when she saw how handsome he really was, and a drop of oil from the lamp fell upon his skin, burning him. Eros awoke immediately and fled. She waited each night, but he did not return. She set out in search of him. When Aphrodite saw her searching, she was determined to keep them apart. She appeared to Psyche. She told her that if she wanted to see her husband again, she had to complete 3 impossible tasks. The first task was to sort a mound of thousands of seeds into separate piles by morning. She vanished, and Psyche sat down and wept. A helpful aunt, touched by the beautiful young girl's problems, gathered other insect helpers together, and the seeds were sorted by morning. Aphrodite returned. She was rather irritated to find the job was done. Then she demanded that Psyche obtain a cutting of wool from the sheep that belonged to the sun god. Of course, these sheep were vicious animals that only a god or a border collie could handle, and they were kept on an island. Psyche set out to the island, and while she was at sea, she heard the reeds along the shore singing, "Look for the wool that has caught on thorny plants." As ready to believe whatever she was told as always, Psyche obeyed and was able to gather enough golden wool without ever having to face face, Aphrodite was really frustrated this time. She set a task that was sure to be impossible. Bring to me a drop of beauty from Persephone, the goddess of the underworld. Maybe Aphrodite was still a little jealous about having to share Adonis. Psyche obediently traveled to the underworld, and she begged Persephone for the gift. Persephone, in a rather dismissive manner, handed her a box, and Psyche went on her way. However, curiosity once more got the better of her, and she opened the box to look inside. Inside the box was everlasting sleep, and Psyche slumped to the ground. But all this time, Eros had not actually been hiding from Psyche. He had been held captive by his rather jealous mother. He had just finally managed to free himself and went in search of Psyche. He found her, sound asleep, and he used his divine powers to waken her. Psyche was overjoyed when she saw her husband, but Eros knew that Aphrodite would be angry. He asked Zeus for help. Zeus gave Psyche a small piece of ambrosia, the food of the gods, and this made her immortal. Now Aphrodite couldn't keep them apart, and they quite literally lived happily ever after.